in Luke chapter 10, it says, "As Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. She had a sister called Mary who sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he said. But Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. She came to him and asked, 'Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do the work by myself? Tell her to help me.' 'Martha, Martha,' the Lord answered, 'you are worried and upset about many things, but only one thing is needed. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her.'" So habit 7 is principles of balanced self-renewal, which basically means taking time to sharpen the saw. So there are 4 dimensions of our nature that Covey says we need to take time to sharpen. So the first being the physical dimension. And he says within that realm there's exercise, nutrition, and stress management. And for exercise, he says this can be endurance, flexibility, and strength, and that those are all very important to exercise. He says that the physical dimension is not a quick fix, that it's something that is in the quadrant 2, that it's important but it's not urgent. And if we don't react to that if we don't take time to sharpen our areas of physical ability, then it can turn into a quadrant 1 where it is urgent because of our health needs, that we haven't taken that time to become physically active. So how many of you guys, I don't know, I feel like I have experience with it, where you're just having like a really bad day. You got into a fight, you had a really bad day at work, you got a bad grade on the test, and all you want to do is just like crawl into bed. But instead you go out for like an amazing run, or you go work out or something, and afterwards you just feel like so much better. You feel restored, renewed. Has that ever happened to you guys? Yeah. So I think we can see that the physical can affect other dimensions as well.
So the next domain is the spiritual. Right? And the main thing about this domain is that it's a commitment to your personal values. And for us as Christians, that is our paradigm. And our values are deeply drawn in Scripture. Covey says that he renews himself spiritually by meditating on the Scriptures. He also mentions some other ways that we can renew ourselves, and it could be through reading literature. We can also listen to music that you like, that comforts you, that relaxes you. And you can also even go out in nature and experience God's creation to just clear yourself of everything that's just been piling up on you and give you some rest and relaxation. Covey demonstrates this domain by telling a story about a man who was feeling awful, and he needed to feel better, so he went into a doctor. The doctor did all the tests, couldn't find anything wrong physically, so he decided to send the patient on a trip to the beach and sent him with several prescriptions that he was supposed to open at certain times. So the man went to the beach, kind of skeptical, and he opens the first prescription, and it says, "Listen." So he sits on the beach and listens. He hears the sound of the wave, the birds, everything that's around him, and just soaks it in. And he realizes that he's, even then, just becoming relaxed and more focused. The next prescription said to reach back. And so what he did was he thought back to his childhood, going to the beach and the lessons that he learned from the beach when he was a child, and that helped him to just kind of get in touch with himself again. The next prescription was examining your motives. And this one kind of threw him for a loop because he knew that a lot of his motives for all of his endeavors in life were for himself and not for others. And he realized that if you have wrong motives, you can't feel right about what you're doing. So when you reevaluate your motives, you can feel better about your life and self-renew. The last prescription was to write your worries on the sand. And I think this is the greatest one for me because it kind of reminds me of Jesus writing in the sand for the adulterous woman, kind of renewing her, sending her off afresh, go and sin no more. And then Martin Luther King said it best, I think, with self-renewal, saying that I have so much to do today, I'll need to spend another hour on my knees. So he knew that the most important help he'll get throughout the busy day was spending more time in the morning for his spiritual health.
So the third domain of renewal is the mental domain, and Covey states that this can be reading, visualizing, planning, or writing. He brings up the point that a liberal arts education is one of the best ways for learning, so congratulations, you're in the right place. He says that Mentally, this prepares us to go through life's challenges and to take a step back and to question the different things that life brings us, and to be more open-minded in that. He states that that planning is a great way to become like mentally proactive, and that like keeping a journal for writing skills is a great way also. And he presents a challenge throughout the chapter that for reading, that once we graduate from college, our education in most ways will end, and that reading is a great way to keep mentally into your education. He says at first try to read a book a month, and then once you kind of get that down, to read a book every 2 weeks, and then once you're like great with that, a book every week. And that's just a great way to stay mentally fit.
The next domain is social emotional. And this domain focuses on 3 main principles. The first is interpersonal leadership. The next is empathic communication, so understanding each other when you're communicating. And creative cooperation, so a lot of that synergy that we just talked about. It largely depends on those relationships that you form with each other, so you want to put time into those and foster those and grow those so that you can renew yourself with other people. The other main point within this domain is that you need to make sure you have a solid intrinsic security. And this can be fostered in 3 main ways. It can be grown when your life is in harmony with your principles and values. So going back to mainly the spiritual, just making sure you're following what you believe in and that you're not compromising on anything. The second is effective interdependent living. So again, focusing on living with others, cooperating with others, and feeding off of the synergy from them. And the last is serving others. So not only getting something from those around you, but giving back to them and serving each other.
So Covey states that part of the renewal process is scripting others in that process. And so as interdependent people, a realization that we have is that we are part of a paradigm that has social mirrors. So basically, the way that you see me is how I'm going to see myself. He says that we can affirm people's proactive nature and treat them as responsible people. So if you guys will, I don't know if you're looking at your handouts, but what can we do about this? And I think 2 really great questions that he brings up is what do we reflect to others about themselves, and how much does that reflection influence their lives? Okay, and then he ends that with a passage from Goth, and he says, treat a man as he is, and he will remain as he is. Treat a man as he can, and he should be, and he will become as he can and should be. I just think that's a great way that we can remember to really challenge each other, and to grow and to continue renewing, and that it's such a progressive thing that we can't just learn and work out and that's it. We have to continue with that, and we have to encourage each other through that process as well.
We also need to make sure that as we're renewing ourselves in these 4 domains, we need to do it in a balanced manner. You don't want to focus on one area and then let all the others just kind of fade out into the background. You want to make sure you're getting all of them equally.
And he states that there's a synergy in this renewal, that the things you do to sharpen the saw in one dimension have a positive impact in all the other dimensions as well, because they're so highly interrelated. And so he goes through each habit, starting with habit 1, which is being proactive. And if we kind of set it up so you guys can review this and write them down. So habit 1, he says, is being proactive. And as you're proactive, that'll lead to being stronger in your personal leadership skills. And that can also lead to being more effective in your time management. And through being more managed in your life, the more quadrant 2 renewing activities you'll do. He then says that the independence qualities in habits 1, 2, and 3, once you improve in those, you'll become more effective in the interdependent situations from 4, 5, and 6, which is think, win, seek first to understand, and synergy. And the habit 7, renewal, is the renewal of all of these habits. So you're continually growing in those habits.
So we'd like to issue a challenge to you guys So we want you to pull out the second handout we gave you. You'll notice that it's just a plain calendar, just like a planner. We don't want you to schedule your life, or you can because that's one of the older habits, but what we want to challenge you to do is for 1 month, so the month of October if you want, set weekly goals in ways and manners that you can give yourself renewal in each of the 4 domains. So set 4 goals or for each of the domains for each week, and make sure you do those weekly so that you can make sure that you're renewing yourself and doing it in a balanced way. Is there any questions that anybody has? All right, thank you for your time. I'd like to close again with the Lord. Martha, Martha, the Lord answered, you are worried and upset about many things, but only one thing is needed. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her.